right, so I'm going to do my best to show the table. I'm going to get my tea out of the way, get my coffee out of the way. I see how Joe's eyeing my apple, so I'm going to get that out of the way before it gets eaten. All right. So today we're going to talk about acrylic paint, like super basic acrylic paint color mixing version. All right. There's more lessons we'll do, but I don't want to overload you with too many things, and I want you to have some fun. So you'll notice that the tools we have for acrylic paint are far greater than the amount of tools we have for watercolor. All right, we've got paint. All right, we've got gel medium, paintbrushes, a palette knife, some paper towels or rag works, a palette, and some canvas. All right, now these and some water. These come in all different shapes and sizes and forms. This is just basic stuff. All right, so thing number one, when you're working with acrylic paint, use a flat palette. All right, don't use the palette like we do for watercolor that has the little cups in it. Use a flat one, okay? You dig? Nobody remembers the answer to that question? Can you dig it? And you say, yes, Mr. Allen, I can dig it. That's the correct answer. Well, I'll give you a chance to figure it out later, or to practice later. Uncooperative plastic. So this here is a paper palette, which is a little misleading because it's kind of a waxy paper. It's not like a piece of copy paper, like bond paper. But whatevers, it's all good. We also have the flat plastic ones. You have maybe seen an artist use the wood ones, you know, in a big circle and they hold it. If you've ever watched any of those old Bob Ross videos, Bob uses it. Uses one of the big wooden ones. The important part is it's flat, all right? And the reason you want a flat palette is because you can mix paint right on the palette, right? And I'll show you some kind of fun ways of mixing it as you're working so that you don't have to mix a designated amount of a specific color and then use that color and have every little nuance. What you do is you have kind of your colors sitting out here, and then you can kind of mix as you're working. Okay, so brushes. If you're not actively painting with the brush, that means if it's not in your hand putting paint on the canvas, then it should be in the water. Acrylic paint turns into plastic, and it dries fast. So if you leave the brush and it's got paint on it and it's setting out on the side like this, then it's going to dry and turn into plastic on the bristles, and they don't bend anymore. They get all yucky. They're no fun. You don't want to use them. All right? Palette knife. This is what you use to scoop up paint. All right? Don't use your paintbrush. You can, but it's annoying. Don't use your paintbrush. Use a palette knife. Gel medium it's like paint without color. All right? It's the same stuff that goes in here, but no pigments in it. And it makes your paint go on smoother, and it makes it mix nicer. It's kind of, even just looking at it, it's kind of satisfying looking, just like that, right? I mean, ooh. All right. For wiping things off. The most important thing about the gel medium is that you don't want to get color in there. You don't want to take a palette knife, which is loaded with red paint, and dunk it in there, because then forever that gel medium will be a little bit red. It absorbs the color, right? It picks it right up. So you don't want that, especially because that's a really big jug. And if that gets a little bit red when it's only part of the way down, then it's always red forever. All right? Now I'm just going to show you very basic things about color mixing. We'll leave like the muted tones and how to make flesh tones to another lesson, right? And you can experiment with it today. I'm going to show you this, play around with this, maybe even come up with a symbol or something like that. And even play around with the other colors to see how they work. But this is enough for today. So with acrylic paint and with oil paint, there are 2 blues, 2 yellows, and 2 reds. And that's important, all right? Because with mixing these paints, 1 red, the cool red, moves towards purple. And 1 blue, the ultramarine blue, also moves towards purple. So these 2 will make purple. These 2 will make more of a dirty or lavender sort of color, right? And these 2 will kind of be a yucky, almost purple, but not quite color. All right, 1 yellow, this is the, what is it called? Brilliant, deep yellow, all right, mixes towards orange. And 1 red, this is called brilliant red, mixes towards orange. Get a nice orange color out of those 2. The cool yellow, lemon yellow, is the cool one. And the phthalo blue, which is this one, mixes towards green. All right. You can crisscross them if you want a more muted tone, but if you want a nice, bright, exciting green color, you need to use your cool yellow and your phthalo blue. All right. So, thing number 1, get some gel medium. All right. I suggest just put a whole bunch on the palette to begin with, and then that's why it's there for you to work. You know why the paper palette is nice? Because when you're done, you just throw it in the garbage can. If you want to save it, I can give you a thing to save it, but acrylic color rarely lasts. Even when it's in a sealed palette, it rarely lasts 2 days. It's good for oil paint. All right, so let's make some orange. Actually, I'm going to make some purple first. So I'm going to get a little bit of my cool red. Wipe out my knife. A little bit of red down here. That's actually a lot of red. Get my ultramarine blue, which looks chunky and gross and maybe has gone bad. I'll have to go get another bottle. But we'll see. Let's hope for the best here. Now this, you see how I'm like wiping this off? This is a good habit to get into when you start doing oil painting, because with oil paint, you can just, you don't need to wash everything off. Usually a wipe is good enough for oil paint, as long as you're careful about it. But oil paint has a whole nother thing that we're not even working with right now. Yeah, this blue has gone booty on us. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get another jar of blue. Wow. All right.
Check.
Lovely. Another bottle that's gone bad on us. Here we go. Come on. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. That's already got blue on it. So. Well, this one, even this one's kind of nothing like bottles and bottles of paint. That's no good. All right, give me another moment. We'll go get another bottle of blue. Be back after these messages.
I thought paint was really expensive.
I think this is ultramarine.
Oh, really?
They kind of, we'll get another bottle.
But I like that one better.
All right, everybody, here's hoping. Hi. All right, that looks good. So now, for real this time, let me get some blue. Some ultramarine blue down there. Put my lid back on my paint. And so we start with grabbing up a little bit of the gel medium. All right, putting it in between, and then I'm going to pull in a little blue, and I'm going to pull in a little red, start mixing them together. And I can adjust the intensity of the color right as I'm working, right? So that purple looks a little red to me. All right, there, that's getting a nifty looking purple. And then watch this. This is what I'm going to do, is that I've kind of got it in between. It's sort of a reddish purple. That's all right for now. Get my brush washed off. I'm going to start with some of this purple, or this reddish purple, and then I'm going to use my brush to add some more blue so I get that more purple that I like. See? And then, let's see here. The reason I chose the purple first is because purple is going to be my background. All right? Get in the habit, especially with acrylic paint, of painting your background first. All right? There we go. Now, acrylic paint also work in layers. All right? So there's this rule called fat over lean, right? Which means that you put thin paint down first and then put thicker paint over the top of it. So I'm just going to put a layer of purple down there because it's that time of the year. I maybe should have done a pomegranate or Shirley, but I'm doing a Shirley because, you know, mostly because I wanted to show you how to mix color. Now check this out. I've got a little bit of paint down there, and I've been using water to thin it out, but you can also use the gel medium to help extend it out. Now something that's important to know about how paint works is that if it's wet and you try and put more paint over the top of it, it really doesn't put more paint over the top of it. It just picks up all the paint. So if you've got like a thin layer like I have like this, and you want more, like you want more intense color, you want thicker paint, the thing to do is to let it dry and then put more paint on top of it. If I go in there and try and paint some more, what happens is really I just remove paint. I don't add paint. All right, so there we go. I got my purple background. Now, do you remember the color, the triad colors in that purple is a part of? Purple, something, and something, and something. What's the triad for the primary colors? Red and yellow and blue. And then, yeah, the secondary triad. Now, here, it's important. Remember, I've got to use my warm red, that's brilliant red, in my warm yellow, and for us that's like yellow deep, yeah, deep yellow. Follow this exactly the same process. I've already got some gel medium down there, so I don't need. Put a little bit of yellow. It's actually a lot of bit of yellow. And put a little bit of red. Oh, come on. Is this going to be a red that's all going? No, this one's good. I was afraid that red also had come going booty on us. All right, there we go. I'm going to need another rag. You can use the towels as long as you make sure you clean them out really well. But if you're going to let them dry with a whole bunch of paint on them, it's a little wasteful, but I'd rather you use a paper towel. Pick up some of my gel medium. I'm going to mix the orangish red with the orangish yellow and get an orangish orange. All right, satisfying. Now dig this. Instead of painting with my brush, I'm going to paint with my palette knife. Oh no, I ran out of orange. Not a big deal. I can just make some more right while I'm working. Save the day. Oh, I got a little blue in there. There we go. Yeah, come on, Scherzer. I had an artist friend who went by the name Scherzer. Scherzer.
Oh, you're trying. Oh, I get what you're trying to make.
I was thinking Hulu too, but Hulus aren't orange like this.
Wait, but doesn't Shiza have like green leaves?
Yeah, but I just wanted a Scherzer sitting on my purple table in my living room. We could do green leaves though. Yeah, that would be a good one, right? And then we'd have the whole triad. Pretty smart. Yay. All right, so there needs some more refinement. This is just going to be my first layer. I'm just going to use red just for fun, right? But I've gotten the first layer of paint down there. I maybe go in here and work it a little bit, push some over this way. It's going to get kind of dim. And then I might dry. Fortunately, this paint dries so quickly that I'll let it dry and I'll add some here to get the shape correct. And then maybe I'll add some yellow on top of the purple, because you remember when you mix complements, it has the effect of making it gray, right? So if I take a little bit of yellow, make it very thin, all right, wait for this to dry, and then from here down, paint just a really thin layer of yellow, then this still looks purple, but it looks like a gray purple. And you can see the edge of the table with my purple wallpaper back behind it. That's bright and exciting. Remember that you don't have to get it all in the first go. Like I said, this is just a really quick thing, and I'm going to set this aside, and maybe I'll do some more painting or work on another one, come back and work on it again, come back and work on it again. You have to make at least 2 paintings for this unit, and one of the reasons for making at least 2 is that you're working on 2 at the same time. You kind of start one and work on it, and you step away from it, you go over here and work on another one. Then you go back to this one, go back to that one. So you don't, because what I don't want you to do is get a first layer of paint and then sit there and like twirl your hair and watch the paint dry, right? I'd rather you work on another painting, okay? All right, so here's your challenge for the rest of class today. And you got a fair bit of time. Try it out. Try making some small acrylic paintings. I'll get you some different pieces of canvas like this. There's a bunch of paint over there. It's all kind of meh, but we'll get you outfitted with more paint. I'll leave these out here for your reference, so don't run away with this paint because your classmates want to know what the name of the cool red and the warm red are. But also feel free to try out some of those other paints, right? Make paintings of simple things, all right? Today is a experiment and figure out how it works day. So not a phoenix with a flame in its mouth, where riding on a cloud with Sun Wukong underneath it and an ocean and a cliff, right? Instead, like just a bird, all right? Paint simple things. It's better to do 2 or 3 simple things today, because your real goal is to get a feel for how the paint works, not to create a finished painting. Can you dig it? There we are. All right. So, ready, go.